Hello and welcome to the Slightly Spoiled podcast. I'm your host, Elise, and today we are doing another Slightly Spoiled recap and review, this time Love Island USA Season 6, episodes 2, 3, and 4. So if you missed our episode Tuesday, we introduced the season. I talked about how I'm watching this 1 year too late. Only slightly spoiled though, I don't know too much. And I talked about the premiere episode, all of the original Islanders, and all the way up through the first mini recoupling. It wasn't a full recoupling, but one person switched couples. Leah was left single and vulnerable. And then two new bombshells entered the villa, both guys. We learn at the beginning of episode 2 that those are Connor and Hakeem. First, we have Hakeem. He is from Miami. He is Jamaican. He claims to have all the riz. Okay, that's how he describes himself. And I find him a little obnoxious. I can't lie. I have to kind of temper my expectations when it comes to bombshells because I know that they are expected to be gregarious and out there and try to steal people. And so a lot of times bombshells rub me the wrong way right off the bat. And then they grow on me as it moves along. Not to spoil anything, but that does happen a little with Hakeem. But he's a bit much for me. Hakeem describes his type as essentially a Kardashian, okay? He likes a girl with dark hair, but fair skin, and a big old booty. And two women in the villa right now fit that description. That would be Hannah and Leah. Leah is pretty flirty off the bat because obviously she was left single by Rob since he paired up with Liv. And so she and Hakeem are flirty. They kind of hit it off. But I'm going to say once he pulls her aside for a one-on-one talk, it's kind of obvious that it's one-sided. She's very hung up on Rob. She's still thinking about that. It's fresh. Later that night, Leah cries to the other girls about the whole situation. She feels a little upset by the way Liv handled things. And she also speculates whether Liv has a humiliation kink because how embarrassing is it that she chose Rob? At this point, I literally wrote, be serious, because I'm thinking, Leah, where did you get that from? And then as I moved through the rest of the episodes, I kind of think she might be onto something. The next morning, Liv apologizes to Leah. And it's over so quickly. Leah accepts the apology and it seems like she's moved on, but there's something about Leah that makes me uneasy. I can't read her. I can't tell if she accepts the apology because genuinely after sleeping on it, she's like, oh, it's totally fine. Or if she is just the kind of person who likes to stew quietly and then explode later. And I guess we'll find out. Back to Hakeem, who obviously needs to talk to the other big booty brunette in the villa, which is Hannah. And on his first morning in the villa, they talk and they kind of bond over the fact that they sleep in socks. This baffled me, okay? Hakeem's first night in the villa, he goes to put socks on and everyone's like, what are you doing? Who's wearing socks to bed? What's even wrong with you? You're a monster. When did it become weird to wear socks to bed? I truly have never met anyone who has a strong opinion about this. I know some people wear socks to bed, some people don't. Personally, I wear socks to bed and I wake up and I've taken them off. I guess it's nice of Hannah to be like, you're not a weirdo. I do that too. But I genuinely can't believe that he and Hannah are the only two seemingly in the villa that think it's a normal thing to wear a normal garment to sleep in. That's not all they have in common though. They are each other's type and they also both love physical touch and PDA, which leads Hakeem to say, hey, can I kiss you? And she's like, not right now. I'm gonna get my makeup all over you, which we do know historically that's true. I don't know what Hannah puts on her face, but she is caked up. Every time she kisses a man, it is everywhere. So understandable. It would definitely be obvious if he kissed her, but he, of course, takes this as a rejection. And she's like, no, we'll work on it later. We'll see. Of course, now that Liv chose Rob to couple up with, Kendall is suddenly all in on Hannah. She's his number one. Please, please, please don't let her be into Hakeem. Whatever, Kendall. Okay, you were ready to completely drop her before. And we haven't forgotten. Hakeem and Hannah talk again later that night. And she's like, so who are you feeling? Who are you into? And he says, oh, there's this one girl. She's wearing green tonight. And she laughs. It's obvious that he's talking about her. Her jumpsuit is fully blue. Okay, I don't know what is going on. Maybe it's the color grading on the camera or something. It's a slightly green toned dark blue. Along with Hakeem, the other bombshell who enters the villa is Connor. Connor's from LA in literally every possible way, okay? He is super chill, laid back, seems like a nice guy, has the broiest voice you could possibly imagine. Oh, hey man, what's going on? That's Connor. And he's also, I'm gonna guess, a little bit into physical appearance, okay? I can't even imagine the amount of time in the gym this man spends. He is gigantic. His physique is impressive. I do not want to take away from that, but he is the opposite of the kind of Ozempic bobblehead phenomenon. If you've seen that, it's usually Ozempic, but when someone loses a lot of weight and it almost doesn't look right with their body, it's like you're maybe not meant to be this skinny. He has defied nature with how big his body has gotten, and his head now looks out of proportion with the rest of his body. He looks like he's at one of those like theme park things where it's a wooden body with a hole for the head and you like put your head in to take a photo. He looks like that. The women are obsessed with him and he is jacked beyond belief. But it is kind of funny sometimes the way his head looks so tiny for his body. Another very LA thing about Connor is that he likes blonde girls. So naturally, he gravitates to Kaylor. They actually hit it off really well. They bond over loving to go to the gym and also loving sushi, specifically rainbow rolls. It is a riveting conversation. One moment between them that really makes me laugh is when they're talking in the shade and she goes to take her sunglasses off. He goes, "Oh yeah, pop those sunnies off." Nothing came of that, but I just thought it was so hilarious when he said it. Like, wow, so validating. Kaylor says both of the bombshells are her type. And I can't stress enough how little these men look like each other. Like, Connor is a white boy gym rat and Hakeem is like a tall, skinny, like not skinny, muscular black guy. They do not look alike. Kaylor, do you have a type? It's okay not to, but they can't both be your type, okay? Hot is not a type. The only other girl that we really see Connor talking to at all is Serena. One conversation between the two of them, and it's about music. She talks about how creating playlists and like recommending music to people is a love language, and they really hit it off. She also says that he is statuesque, that's how she pronounces it, like a mannequin. And it's honestly a cute conversation between the two of them. It goes absolutely nowhere. Like, we never see them interact again. Connor tells Kaylor that she's his number one. He's going to be pursuing her. And she tells him that she's open to that, but she still wants to maintain things with Aaron. And she's very nervous about giving him too much so that it kind of makes Aaron feel shafted. They do share a little smooch in soul ties, and she lets him know that she's interested in him, but she's still going to be pursuing Aaron. She does say to Connor that he is marriage material. He's a real man, and she's kind of used to little boys. And it's heavily implied that Aaron is the little boy. She later tells Aaron that she kissed Connor, and she tells him she's very much still interested in pursuing things with him. She likes where things are going, even though they don't really talk about serious things. So it makes you wonder, does she want a man at all? Back to Liv and Rob, because ever since she selected him, he has been moping around the place, looking completely miserable. And she pulls him aside and is like, "What's going on here? Are you okay?" And he basically says, "Yeah, sorry, I'm just shocked. Like, I'm trying to process this." He later does say that he kind of regrets the way that he handled that. He doesn't want to make her feel bad. He's just completely surprised because, again, it did not seem like Liv and Rob hit it off at all. He was not expecting to be chosen by her. There's kind of a funny moment when they're sitting together where he's like, "I think we should just take some deep breaths." And he takes a few deep breaths. He's like, "That really helped me." Rob and Leah are truly meant for each other because just like her, I cannot read him for a second. He seems like he's always kind of got an inside joke with himself. The morning after Liv chooses Rob, he decides to make avocado toast for both Leah and Liv, which was honestly sweet of him, okay? I feel like Leah needed that reassurance. Liv needed to feel welcome, but he's very nervous to do it because he doesn't know how they're going to feel about him making avocado toast for the other person. And so he asks the guys for some reassurance, and Aaron says, "Your nose is a good nose." I thought that was a really funny little moment between them. Again, I thought Rob was very sweet for doing that. Now I have some bones to pick with Rob, okay? Because he has a conversation with Liv later that morning that I really do not like. They're talking about music, and she asks him if he knows the song Supermarket Flowers by Ed Sheeran. And he kind of cringes at the mention of Ed Sheeran and says that Ed Sheeran is overrated and basic. He says he prefers things that make you feel something, like Biba Doobie. I don't want to hate on Biba Doobie. I really have not listened to her very much. I've heard she's great, okay? But really, Biba Doobie is not basic and not overrated. She has like a bunch of songs that went viral on TikTok. Also, it's rude in literally any context if someone says, "Hey, I really love this, fill in the blank, this music artist, this movie, this TV show," and you tell them that that thing basically sucks. And that's what he did. Also, there's no clearer way for me to know that you've never heard the song Supermarket Flowers by Ed Sheeran than for you to say, "No, I prefer something that actually makes me feel something." I routinely cried to Supermarket Flowers by Ed Sheeran when I was 18 years old. So this was personal for me. After this conversation, he's like, "Yeah, I don't think Liv and I have anything in common." Finally, something we can agree on. Except you know who doesn't agree? Liv. I'm going to say she's being delusional, okay? She compares Rob to an ice sculpture that she's just kind of slowly chipping away at. And I would say, Liv, you need to check what tool you're using because it must be like your fingernail or a toothpick or something. You are looking at a perfectly untouched block of ice, as far as I can see it. She also later says to Kaylor that she's annoyed with how locked in Leah is after 48 hours and that she needs to, quote, get over it. And Liv, listen, I will tolerate you being delusional for yourself, but to say that someone else needs to change their behavior because they are not aligning with your own delusions, you've lost me. It was also just harsh. The way that she talks about Leah saying, oh, she needs to get over it. Why? Because she likes someone that she just met? Sue her. The thing about Liv, I genuinely can't form an opinion on her over these 3 episodes. She was giving me whiplash, okay? Every time that I feel like, oh, I don't like her, I don't like the way she handled that, she'll come out and be more mature than everybody else. Or she'll really squash some drama when everyone else is letting it play out, but then she'll go ahead and do something mean. Liv, can you stop being so complex? I need to know, do I like you or don't I? Rob's first conversation with Leah after the little recoupling with Liv is mostly just him apologizing. And Leah is very skeptical because she's like, I don't know, you must have given Liv some reason to think that there was something between you guys. Leah, you really would think that. You're so valid in assuming that, but it's just not true. Rob has given her absolutely nothing, continuing to give her absolutely nothing, and Liv is over there thinking that you're the delusional one. Babe, it's crazy. I know. Rob only wants to be with Leah. He says there's nothing sparky going on with Liv. I love the phrasing of that. And he even organizes like a little cute secret rendezvous on the dock at the end of the 2nd episode. And they share what I believe is their first smooch outside of a challenge. So things are looking up for these two. Rob is really good at stealing away a little moment of Leah's time and like making her feel special. He's good at those little gestures. The next morning, there's another example of this. He has like a little signal that he stole from his high school baseball team that meant steal. I'm a little unclear on baseball signaling. Like I know hand signals are a big part of it. Are they universal? I would assume not. Right? Because then the other team would know exactly what your plan is, right? So it's really, this is not a baseball podcast, and I'm making that very clear. But anyway, he steals her from the makeup room, and they share a quick little embrace in the morning, and it's very sweet. Again, I think this is a whole awkward situation with him being coupled up with Liv, and he's doing a really good job, in my opinion, of making Leah feel special in these little moments that he gets to steal away. One person who's pretty unaffected by the bombshells entering is Janae. She is feeling very good about her relationship with Coy. When she's talking to him, she describes them as the married couple of the villa, and not to spoil anything, but is this like a curse? Did she just jinx them? Because that happened on season 7 as well. She does talk to Connor later that night, and she right away makes fun of the way he enters, the way that he's like so huge and he kind of just walks like the Hulk basically. And I know I joke around about Janae and how she's like delusionally confident, but I genuinely think the way she feels so secure in herself makes her so much more genuine because she's not worried about making this person like her. I think a lot of the introductory conversations in the villa feel really scripted and stilted because it's just like, oh, so what's your type? Oh, definitely exactly how you look. Oh, you're so beautiful. Oh, you're so handsome. Let's pursue this relationship. And she's just immediately like, hey, you looked like really dumb when you walked in the villa, and they can laugh together about it. And I thought that was a really cute interaction. And I continue to just think Janae is such a great person on reality TV. I'm enjoying her so much. Connor tells Janae that he actually was very interested in her when he first entered the villa, but he could tell that she was doing well with Coy and he didn't want to get in the way of that. And they have such a cute moment together where she compliments him on how good he is at making eye contact. And he says that she's just really easy to look at. Like, it is so cute. And she really likes the way that he is initiating things. Coy is very much sitting back and like letting her come to him. And it's refreshing for her, I think, to have Connor actually pursue her. I'm gonna gush about Janae just a little bit more. I'm loving her friendship with Serena and Leah. This trio is so funny. The way they're kind of like sneaking around the villa and eavesdropping on conversations and like watching people's body language as they talk to each other. They were doing this with Connor and Kaylor right off the bat, like checking if their girl is into this new guy. And they were also watching Rob and Liv because they wanted to make sure that, you know, Leah's man was not messing around on her. It's fun to watch them kind of like sleuth around and be peering around the walls and the corners and crawling on all fours. And it made me think about in season 7 how whenever this type of thing would happen, it would just be one woman, like Sierra or Huda. And the energy of that is just so different. When it's a group of girls, it feels silly and playful. And when it's one girl, it's like possessive and crazy. Like it's the same action, but it feels totally different as a viewer. We don't get a ton from Cordell and Serena. It seems like they're kind of coasting along, not really moving quickly. She's a very slow burn and he's following her lead on that. Their conversations are just never very substantive. So I'm assuming that's why they don't get that much screen time. But their body language and banter is very cute. Like they're super comfortable with each other. It's not really moving along though, so like you kind of got to move on with that. Liv is really struggling with the whole Rob and Leah situation, and I think it's always hard for bombshells who come in because they don't have that like group of friends. They'll befriend a person or two, but usually they're presented as the opponent of an original girl, and so the original girls are going to gather around their friend. It's only natural. So she ends up confiding in Hakeem about how her standards are just so unbelievably low for treatment and Rob is not meeting them. Over the course of the conversation, she starts to look at Hakeem in a new way. She starts to maybe crush on him a little bit. So that's new. It's time for another game. Leah gets a text saying that they're going to play higher or lower, and it's girls versus boys. So everyone was asked questions beforehand. The guys start, they're in front of wooden cutouts of all the girls, and Serena is the first one. We're given her answer to each question, and then through the lineup, they have to guess if people are higher or lower. We get 3 questions for the girls and 3 questions for the guys, and obviously there are either 6 or 7 answers for each, so I'm not gonna give you the rundown of all of it because it's just not that interesting, but I'll give you the highest and the lowest of the group, and then any standouts, anything that's interesting beyond that. The first question that the guys have to guess is the most money each girl has spent on their man at any given time. So one occasion, what's the most they've dropped? The highest number is $5,000, which was Kaylor, and she said this was on Christmas gifts. That is a crazy amount of money. What did she buy this man for Christmas? I genuinely want to know. The lowest was $20, which was Hannah. I guess it makes sense because she's never had a boyfriend before. She says that she will not spend money on a man unless he's her boyfriend, but she said it was gas station snacks. Gas station snacks, that's the most you've ever given someone of the opposite sex. That's kind of crazy, right? Like, I think it is. And then Leah was the only other standout. Her number was $1,000 and it was a custom Louis Vuitton blunt holder. I just know that was a thoughtful gift for the person she gave it to. Like, you don't just give anyone a custom Louis Vuitton blunt holder, okay? That man was the target demographic for that, and I hope he was appreciative. Next, we have body count. Now, this is a question that both sides answered, and it does become relevant. I really don't like when we talk a lot about body count. There's a lot of shame that goes into it, a lot of double standards, and it's just like kind of icky and personal. Like, I don't need to know those things, but we'll just breeze through it. The lowest was a tie between Liv and Serena at 6. The highest was Kaylor at 24. She said she had a lot of fun in high school and college. All right, we don't judge. And Aaron looks a little bit perturbed by this. His must be lower, right? That's the only reason you'd probably judge someone for having 24 is if yours is like 2, right? Aaron. The only other weird one is Janae, who's 22. And Coy, when he finds this out, says she's a liar. We don't really hear this elaborated on, but like, what do you mean she's a liar? Did she tell you a different number? I don't understand. I want to talk about this same question for the guys before we move on to the final question for the girls. So 24, which was the highest of the girls, is also the lowest for the guys, and that is Hakeem. The highest is Coy, 150. Apparently he told Janae 100. Like when they're guessing the numbers, she's like, you guys, I already know what his is. It's 100. Like, we'll guess. I don't remember if it was lower or higher, but like, I know what his number is. And then it was 150. So he called her a liar, but he was like actually a liar. Aaron's number was 75, which he says is only because he was heartbroken. He was trying to mend his broken heart. But again, 75 is a little higher than 24, Aaron. I don't know what we're judging Kaylor's 24 for. Back to the girls, the final question was how many sexual partners is too many for their man? This is also relevant, okay? The lowest is once again a tie with Serena and Hannah at 30. And I just want to say that Cordell's number of sexual partners is 30. So we're a little limited, Serena and Cordell, on what we can get up to, unfortunately. He's reached his max. The highest is Leah at infinity. She does not care. Back to the guys, they had to say how many times they've ghosted someone. Hakeem was the lowest at 0. That's great if it's honest. And Cordell, his answer was 1,001. I always think it's funny the way that they have exact numbers that are very high. Like, are you really counting at that point? Or is it just kind of I don't know, maybe 1,001? The reason he gives is that Odell Beckham Jr. is his relative. It's a little confusing. Some people say he's his brother, but some people say he's not. But anyway, he says that he will immediately ghost people if they mention that and that it happens a lot. So I don't know if I'm just a Cordell stan, but that actually makes sense as a reason to me. Am I brainwashed? Let me know. And the editing of this is really funny because they show Hannah reacting when she finds that out about him. And she says that she's seeing him differently now that she knows because Odell Beckham Jr. is her celebrity crush. So clearly, it's not out of the realm of possibility that that does happen a lot. The guys were also asked the same question as the girls: how many sexual partners is too many for their future lady? And the lowest that anyone answered was 10. That was a tie between Aaron and Coy. They both said 10. The two highest body counts of the men, by the way. And then they both are like, oh, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. If it doesn't matter, why'd you say such a low number? Why wouldn't you say, I don't know, infinity, like our guy Cordell? Or Rob said 500, but he said he would genuinely never ask that question. He thinks it's incredibly immature and he doesn't even care to know. The boys supposedly win this game because they were more correct. I don't know. The outcomes of these games never matter at all. After the game is over, there's a little bit of time for mingling, and then Kaylor gets a text saying that there's a recoupling tonight and the guy who is left single is going home immediately. Janae pulls Coy aside after the game because there were some weird things going on during that. He was maybe not honest about his body count with her. And she's just like, hey, you're not being open with me. And you also don't really seem like you care about this at all. And he's like genuinely a statue. He could not be less affected by anything this woman says. She also tells him that she's kind of interested in getting to know Aaron. And he's like, no, I respect that. That's awesome. I respect that. She cries in a confessional and says, like, I've spent so much effort on this guy. I thought that we were going somewhere. And I feel like it's not being reciprocated at all. And, you know, it's hard to watch her cry and watch him just literally be so unaffected by all of it. This all happens. Then the recoupling is announced. And she is kind of waiting around for him to start a conversation with her, and he just doesn't. So she pulls him aside as kind of a Hail Mary. Like, should I even put any more time into this man? No, you shouldn't. While everyone's getting ready for this night, Rob and Leah sneak away again to their dock, and Liv spots them. Okay, she's up on that balcony taking selfies with Kaylor, and she's like, what is that off in the distance? And it's Rob and Leah smooching, and she is pissed. To Kaylor, she says that Rob is a, quote, pathetic ass bitch, okay? And she thinks that she's being played by Rob. And I just have to say, I know that you're coupled up with Rob, but he did not tell you that he wasn't going to pursue things with Leah. And he did not tell you to couple up with him. Like, maybe it would have been decent of him to say, hey, I'm maybe not pursuing things with you anymore. But it kind of seems like he thought that was loud and clear because your conversations were so awkward. Something I must discuss with you guys. I've held my tongue for long enough about Hannah's makeup. I know I said she wears a lot of makeup, and she certainly does, but the contour in this episode was genuinely, I couldn't even look at the screen, okay? You have a gray swoop under your cheekbone. It does not make your cheekbones look bigger. It just makes you look like you rolled around in some dirt. And the fact that no girl, when they were getting ready, said anything to her makes me wonder if she has any true friends here. More importantly, she doesn't know what she's gonna do for the recoupling tonight. She feels genuinely split on Kendall and Hakeem. She says 50-50, and she has to pick one. Ariana shows up looking gorgeous as usual. She's wearing this like brown kind of mesh dress with rhinestones on it. It's giving a little bit figure skater vibes, not in a bad way, but it especially like moves really well. I feel like they're really good at choosing outfits for that slow-mo walk. And then sometimes when she's standing still, I'm like, oh, that's not as good of a dress as I thought. And that did happen with this one, but it still looks amazing on her. And she literally always looks great. When Ariana walks in, Janae says, every time she shows up, I want to pee. We don't hear any explanation for this. I need to know, like, is she scared? and she's going to pee herself? Is she like, I need to buy some time by going to the bathroom? I mean, we just breeze right over it. I need details on this. The fact that Ariana's here, of course, means it's time for the recoupling, and the first one to choose is Serena, who of course picks Cordell. No surprise there. Next is Kaylor, and she, of course, is choosing between Connor and Aaron. She goes with Aaron. She says they have a really strong foundation, and she's excited to kind of see where things go. After that is Hannah, who has been going back and forth between Kendall and Hakeem, but she ultimately chooses Kendall. She says she feels like a little kid when she's around him, which is very sweet. And then we have Liv, who chooses Hakeem, and she does use this moment to kind of express her anger about the whole Rob situation in a very passive-aggressive way. She says she's so excited to be with someone who's open and honest because she hates people who aren't. It would seem that she and Hakeem are a great match because he decides to kind of take the opportunity to do the same thing. He says he feels like he was really led on by Hannah, and he's really excited to be with someone who is going to be straight up with him. Hannah's like, that's not true. I told you that Kendall was my number one. And he said, no, you said that Kendall was the only other one that you were pursuing, but that between the two of us, you were 50-50. Which is true. That is what she said. She kind of denies it for a second, and then she's like, well, yeah, I am 50-50, but I like Kendall more. Do we need a refresher on the term 50-50? Because I feel like it could not be more clear. You can't like one more than the other if it's 50-50, Hannah. It's Leah's turn next, and of course she chooses Rob, and she says he's a proper gentleman. She's so excited to be back with him, and he's really excited too. He actually says that he's kind of glad he got to be with somebody else because he's appreciating Leah so much more. Finally, we have Janae, who has to choose between Coy and Connor, knowing that whoever she does not pick is given the boot. He's out of the villa. And who does she pick? Connor. That's right. And it's because Coy has been so indifferent all night. She feels like she gave him opportunities to express how he felt, and she was just not being pursued the way she wanted to, and Connor was pursuing her. She's so sweet about it too. He's like indifferent until the very end, and he's like, oh, she's gonna regret this. I really do not think so. But she is like wanting to pull him aside so she can apologize and make sure everything's cool, and he's like, yeah, totally fine. He's like Pete Davidson on SNL, Chad. He's like, okay, yeah, okay, whatever. After the recoupling, Liv is talking to Hannah. They've kind of become friends, and she's like, you need to work this out with Hakeem. Like, you're my friend. He's my new couple. You know, we need to figure this out because that was really awkward for everyone. And Hakeem is super mature in this conversation. I really feel like both he and Hannah show who they are at the core. He's like, yeah, I'm so sorry. You know, I was probably out of line saying that. I did not mean to hurt you. I was just upset in the moment and I didn't handle it well. And her response is pretty much like, yeah, it was really rude. Like, I don't want to talk to you right now. And she's totally missing the point. She keeps saying that she didn't really owe him an explanation. She can pick whoever she wants. And it's like, of course you can. But he felt led on. If your mentality is going to be, I'm going to do what I want, I don't have to answer to anybody, that can be your mentality, but you also can't expect everyone to never think or say anything about your behavior. You're accepting that people might feel a certain way and that you don't care, and that's fine. But for you to be like, he can't say that to me because I can do what I want, that's just ridiculous. Again, I think she showed her maturity by being pretty much unwilling to engage with him when he was being so kind about it. He was really taking responsibility for his part in it, and she would not do the same. The next morning, she kind of apologizes to him. She basically yells across the like getting ready area, hey, I just want to apologize, and he accepts it. So I guess they're cool now. I don't really know. She also talks to Kendall and says, can you believe how rude Hakeem was to me? And it doesn't seem to have crossed her mind that Kendall might be upset about learning that she said 50-50, because again, she admitted that to the group. She said, yes, I said I'm 50-50, but I also like Kendall more. And so he's like, I've been giving you a lot of my effort, and you seemingly are talking completely differently behind my back than you are to my face. So they kind of move on, and she sort of owns it and says that she feels bad, but he's clearly being really careful with her from now on because he feels like he doesn't trust her anymore, and rightfully so. That morning, Rob and Leah are talking, and he's like, I'm not pulling Liv. Like, we're not going to talk this morning. I feel like nothing needs to be said. And then as they're talking about that, Liv comes and pulls him aside and is like, hey, I don't like the way you handled things. I feel like I look stupid. And it's like, yeah, you kind of do. And I'm sorry. Like, I understand feeling upset about the whole thing, but you also did miss a million signs that this man did not like you. Again, it would have been really great of him to be like, I don't like you. I'm not going to pursue you anymore. I like somebody else. But you're not some kind of like person who's been led on in this way, he was so cold to you. And you were like, he's so cold because he's actually an ice sculpture that I'm going to sculpt by hand. And this is just going to be a beautiful thing. Like, no, you guys just have nothing in common, nothing to talk about. And it's so hard to watch. She is happy to be with Hakeem though. And they have a little smooch on their first night together. But something that I personally think is going to be a problem is that he asks her to spoon him, like he wants to be the little spoon, and she immediately shuts him down. And I just wonder, has any couple ever in the history of the world recovered from something like that? That just seems indicative of a misalignment of values, in my opinion. She refuses to big spoon him. Come on, Liv. Try something new. Spoon a man who's twice your size. Like, would it kill you? I don't think so. Also, that night we learned that Aaron and Kaylor have a secret handshake, which is cute. Like, they're very playful together. But playful goes over the line, in my opinion, when he spits water in her face as a joke when they're in bed. First of all, not on my pillow. But also, I know she had done her skincare routine already. Like, there's a line. And I'm going to say I do think it's karma a little bit. She decided to go for the little boy and not the man. And he presented himself like a little boy. And that's what happened. So your wet pillow and your moisturizer being removed from your face feel like karma to me, Kaylor. Janae gets a text the next morning. And her first thing that she says is, I'm going to pee myself. We need to know more about your bladder, Janae. Okay. Is something wrong? Or is this just something that you say? Like, I really want to know. But anyway, it's about a new game. It's called Vacation Vixens. And this is one of the Love Island games that I really could do without. There are the games like Higher or Lower or whatever, where it's like really just about digging up information about the Islanders. And then there are the games that are really just an excuse for people to get naked or like half naked and twerk around and make out with people who aren't their partner and pour liquids on each other. I mean, it's really just, it's depraved is what it is. This one, Vacation Vixens, is travel themed. So they're dressed up as stewardesses before they strip down to their bikinis and move through the different twerking checkpoints or whatever you want to call them. I will say this game was not like strictly softcore. There was also some pretty juicy drama that came of it. So I'll take it, but I could do with less of it. Each girl along her twerking journey has to answer 2 superlative questions, one about the girls and one about the guys. And whoever their answer is, they have to dump water on them. Okay, it's better than milk. Season 7. Serena goes first. She's asked which girl is coupled up with someone she would never date in real life. And she says Janae, which is true. Janae has kind of said as much, that Connor's not her usual type. Which boy is the shadiest? She says Hakeem. I started to feel kind of badly for Hakeem more and more as these episodes wore on. Again, he kind of rubbed me the wrong way to start out, but he seems like a genuine guy. Again, he handled things with Hannah very well, in my opinion. And during the Higher or Lower game, everyone was guessing that he was going to be the worst. And he had very tame numbers in comparison to the other guys. And in this game too, he's just catching strays. Like, what did he do that was shady? I don't know. He's just not a part of the core group, and I kind of feel badly. Kaylor is next, and her performance in this game made me realize that she is a woo girl from How I Met Your Mother. She's that girl who just, everything she says, she kind of yells it and then goes, woo, afterwards. And it's so funny. Once you realize that, it's like you can't notice anything else. Kaylor has to answer which girl hasn't shown any signs of girl code, and she picks Liv, which I kind of tend to agree. And then which boy is the most boring? She picks Cordell. Leah is next, and she gets which girl is going to have her head turned next, and her answer is Hannah. And then which boy is the most two-faced? She picks Rob, which is kind of out of left field. Rob is very surprised by this because they've really just smoothed things over from this whole Liv situation. Hannah's next, and she gets which girl is leading her boy on, and she chooses Liv. I thought these two were friends. That seems like kind of a crazy thing to say, but I'm guessing it's just because Liv is with Hakeem and she wants Hakeem to feel like he's being lied to or something. I don't know. Again, Hakeem is just kind of wrapped up in all of this, and I don't think he deserves it. And then which boy isn't being transparent enough? She picks Connor. Next, we have Janae. Which girl is the fakest? She says Serena, who is like her best friend. And she said that she chose her because she knows how she feels about her current couple with Cordell, which is surprising. Like, what does she know that we don't know? Is Serena totally faking this connection? And then which boy will be dumped next? Hakeem. Poor Hakeem, I feel bad. Final girl to go is Liv, and she is not here to mess around, okay? She's ready to stir the pot until all of the contents of the pot are on the floor. She does not care. She gets which girl is the most two-faced, and she walks over to the girls. She points at Kaylor, lets everybody think that it's Kaylor, and then she does a surprise dumping on Leah. Okay, and it's a quick one right in the face. A lot of the girls did a little bit more of a tame, like pouring it on their booty as they're twerking. Okay, no surprise there. Pouring it kind of like halfway on them. No, it was straight into the face. All right, not a joke. And then which boy is a walking red flag? Of course she's gonna pick Rob, but she not only dumps the water on him, she actually goes back and gets more water and dumps it on him again. Part 2 of the challenge is really where things get crazy because each girl has to throw a spear at what is basically a dartboard with the guys' faces on them. And wherever their spear lands, they have to kiss that boy. But they have to announce before they throw the spear who they're aiming for, okay? So even if they don't hit that person, they're still announcing, I'm trying to kiss this guy, basically. We'll start with the tamest and move on to the craziest, all right? So Janae targets Connor, she hits her mark, and I think that's the first time they've smooched. It's a good kiss, whatever. It's not dramatic whatsoever. Serena aims for Cordell. She does hit Aaron's face instead, so she kisses Aaron, but it's clear like she's trying to kiss her man. Leah aims for Kendall, which again, she and Rob just patched things up. You would think that she would be aiming for Rob, but she says that she picked Kendall because she thinks he wants to kiss her. And she did hit her target and she did kiss Kendall. Kaylor says that she's aiming for Hakeem and hits the mark. And like she has really never even talked to Hakeem. So this is also out of left field. She basically says that she just doesn't want to be too closed off, and that's it. So it's a little bit of a surprise to everyone. You know who else targets Hakeem is Hannah. Interesting choice. She says, I know he's missing me. That's her reason why. And the kiss that they have to do is like under this waterfall thing. And he lifts her up and then fully drops her on the ground, like in this pool of water at the bottom of the waterfall after they barely exchanged a peck. I don't think he misses you, girl. I couldn't really tell if this was on purpose or not. It was very weird and awkward for everybody. Lastly, we have Liv, who aims for Kendall because she says he's the most genuine. And I'm just confused, like, is she kind of regretting not picking Kendall and picking Rob instead? Is she trying to go after Hannah? Because again, they suddenly seem to have a weird beef that did not exist before this game. I mean, it's just bizarre. Once again, the game ends with something that is totally inconsequential. The guys have to pick which of the girls they would most collectively like to take on vacation, and they pick Serena. Later that night, Serena tells the girlies that she's gonna try to kiss her man tonight. She hasn't kissed Cordell yet outside of a challenge. She's been moving really slowly. She's nervous, she's excited. She sits down with Cordell. She's like hyped herself up and everything. He starts on this spiel about how he's following her pace and like whatever works for her. He's ready whenever she is. And this completely turns her off and makes her not want to kiss him anymore. She basically says that it feels scripted whenever he talks to her, and she's pretty sure that it's just a friendship vibe between the two of them. I am just so confused by these two. Again, they have such a flirty, giggly energy, and I feel like whenever they talk about serious stuff, it just does not go well. They have like a little argument about it. It's nothing crazy, but Cordell goes to Kendall afterwards and is like, yeah, man, like she told me. And then he fully cannot remember what she said he wants to work on or what he should work on. And Kendall's like, are you serious, dude? Like, this is so important. You need to figure this out. And Cordell's like, hold on. I've got it. And he just can't remember at all. He thinks that maybe he needs to ask Serena to tell him again. Cordell, stop making me feel stupid for liking you and defending you. Okay, get it together, please. And go get your girl. You and Serena are so cute together, and I need you to not mess this up right now. Leah and Rob sit down and he asks her why she kissed Kendall, and she basically says, I know you're not mad about me kissing Kendall. That's why I like you so much. And he's like, no, you're right. And they're good. Like, it's so funny the way these two interact. They're like so on the same page, but as an outsider, I just can't possibly understand it. And that makes me think that they're perfect together. He's also wearing overalls with no shirt underneath, which is kind of a crazy choice. Am I wrong? I've never seen a guy wear this before. And it's not that he looks bad. I can't really put my finger on it. It looks uncomfortable. Like you're wearing jeans with no underwear underneath or something. I don't know. Kendall pulls Hakeem aside and is like, we need to figure this out. Tell me everything about this whole Hannah situation. And he does. He fills Kendall in. At the same moment, Liv and Hannah are having a conversation. And Liv is like, Hannah, you need to pull your man aside and have a conversation with him after this game. And Hannah is really nervous to do so. And Liv is like, no, go. Go right now. Go right now. On one hand, I'm like, okay, Liv is maybe a good friend because Hannah is super conflict avoidant and Liv is telling her that it's a bad idea to avoid it, which is true. But also, it kind of comes off as controlling. Like, Liv, why are you telling her to go do it right this second? When she does talk to Kendall, she pretty much just says, I thought it was funny to kiss Hakeem in the challenge. And Kendall's like, funny? What are you talking about? And it's especially crazy, all of this, because literally that morning, she was feeling badly about what happened at the recoupling. So she made Kendall this like elaborate breakfast and sat with him and pretty much told him that she wasn't going to talk to any other guys and she really wanted to make it up to him. So really, no matter what she says now, it's kind of empty. Like you just saying, oh, I didn't think about it. That doesn't really track because you literally that morning made promises to Kendall about your connection. Why would you mess it up so soon after? And so he pretty much doesn't trust her anymore. Hakeem is just causing lots of problems in everyone else's relationships because Aaron and Kaylor also have to talk about the fact that she kissed Hakeem in the challenge. And she really, again, was just doing it because she wanted to be more open. She didn't want to close herself off so soon, even though things were going well with Aaron. And he is kind of like, I've put all my eggs in your basket, basically. And it seems like you're not willing to do that with me. And to some degree, I'm willing to wait around, but like, how long am I going to wait? And I feel like I'm going to look stupid. And so he doesn't really want to have this conversation and basically says he wants to take a step back and storms off. And it's really hard to watch this because they both care so much, but they like don't know how to express it to the other person, I guess. Kaylor gets advice from Liv. Aaron gets advice from Rob, and they're both kind of trying to talk them down, but we're left in the lurch about what's going to happen next between these two because that is where the episode ends. I think they're going to work it out. It seemed like Rob was getting through to Aaron about like, you just need to tell her exactly how you feel and talk it out. So I think they will do that, but I have a feeling that when they reach that agreement, new bombshells coming in are going to be more easily able to rock the relationship. And I think especially Aaron is going to be susceptible to that. And I think the next bombshells are probably going to be girls because the last two were guys. So I'm not feeling great about Aaron and Kaylor. That's all I have for episodes 2, 3, and 4. Episode 5 is After Sun, which I'm going to skip. So the next podcast that I do will be on Tuesday, and that will be for episodes 6, 7, and 8. So make sure that you subscribe or follow me on whatever platform you are using to listen. For the foreseeable future, most of my episodes will be Love Island recaps, just because I don't want to be recapping this show in December, and I feel like I've got to just kind of keep it moving along, but I will have a few movie and book related episodes kind of interspersed throughout. I hope you will continue to join me on this journey and that you're having fun listening to my podcast, and I hope you'll let me talk your ear off again one day soon. Bye!